Welcome to My Fitness Journey, a fitness podcast where we highlight everyday people and their fitness journeys. And by doing so, we hope that we could get you to rethink what it means to be fit and to understand that this journey is a lifestyle change and not a quick fix system. Let's do it. All right. Welcome to another episode of My Fitness Journey. Today we have my guy, Michael Piña. Michael, what's going on? How are you? Welcome to My Fitness Journey, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm doing awesome, blessed and highly favored.
I love it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for blessing us with your presence because I've been wanting this for a while now. I think the second we launched season 1, I'm like, man, like I gotta get you on here. I know I thought you were still local. So I remember asking you like, hey, can you do the podcast? And then I found out you're in Cali. And then it was in the middle of the pandemic too. And I'm like, dang, am I still gonna get him on? Thanks for eventually following through and making it happen, man. Appreciate it.
Of course, we make it happen, right? It's technology nowadays. We don't got to send messages through pigeons and notes, or put cans together and tie a string. We can do this, so
Absolutely.
I'm grateful to be here for real.
Awesome. And you have such a unique story. I'm so inspired by you. And just even before your journey, your weight loss journey, your fitness journey, I was already inspired by you. I'm not sure you even knew that, because I've seen you dance, and we'll talk about dance. And we'll talk about our connection at Stonehill. Like I'm an alumni at Stonehill. An alumni, at Stonehill College. And you taught. Well, you were an RD, residence director at Stonehill for a few years, and so that was where we crossed paths. And I remember one of my favorite specific events, and the reason why you inspired me was I saw you dance in preparation for an event, a live event. And man, like I said, like my mouth just dropped. Like I was just like, man, I can't. Like, there is dancing. Like people try to dance, whether you're white, black, or big or small. People try to dance, but like the way you moved said nothing about your weight. And that to me, I was just like, man, that's awesome. Like that is amazing. So that was one of my first memories of you, and like really when I started becoming inspired by you. And then when you started going through your fitness journey, and I started watching that journey even more, and I'm just like, I was so inspired by your energy, your dedication, just the life that came into you as you progressed overall. So it really does mean a lot to me that you're here tonight. So thank you.
For sure. And let me tell you, when I was on that stage, I mean, I could move. What didn't move with me was my pants. And what a lot of people didn't know is that at that performance, my pants had ripped.
No way!
I ran off stage. Listen, the show must keep going.
Oh,
and so
yes,
I gave
does.
the best damn show I could ever give. And I remember getting off that stage and telling Omar and Elizette, like, look, and they were not shocked because my pants were always ripping. Like they were used to it. So they were just like,
That is hilarious. Wow. The things that you found out like after the fact. Everybody who's a performer have a story like that.
mm-hmm.
That is awesome. Thanks for sharing that. That's a great way to start the podcast. How I ripped my pants on the dance floor. That's awesome. Well, hey, let's get right into it by, just like I said, just introducing you to the platform and then really getting to know your story. But My Fitness Journey is a podcast. It really is the way I describe it. It's a storytelling platform. Because we launched this, like I said, this is season 2. So welcome to season two. We are progressing, we're growing. But it's when we launched this, it was the intent was really to educate people on the fitness journey and the idea that fitness is it's a personalized approach. It's not a quick fix system and it's not a one size fit all system. Like my journey is different than yours. What it means to what fitness means to me is not going to be what fitness means to you. And that's what people need to understand and realize. And I think social media hasn't done a great job at telling that story, at understanding or getting people to really the vulnerability piece. Social media doesn't do too well at it. The whys, the in betweens, those days that people don't see the struggle, right? Everybody would only see like the best of the best finished product, the six pack ab, like flexing in the mirror 24/7. That's all people see. Like to me, if I'm watching that, that doesn't do me any good. Like, no, thank you. I appreciate your confidence, but no, I'm also not interested and I'm not learning anything from you. And so that's why I started this platform as an opportunity to give someone like yourself an opportunity to tell your story. So because someone is going to watch this and they're going to be inspired by it, they're going to say, I'm going through that, I've gone through it. Or when they're there, they'll listen back to your story and they'll say, man, I remember when Michael said this, and that's exactly what I'm going through. And now they could use you out as a resource or as an inspiration to get through their journey and their demons. So that's what this platform is about, and that's why we started it. So that being said, it means a lot that once again that you're on here. But like, let's get to know you, man. Let's get to know who is Michael Pena and where are you from. What do you do?
Yeah. So originally from Jamaica Plain, JP in Boston, 617 till the day that I die.
Yes.
And I moved out to Connecticut for college, Eastern Connecticut. Shout out to the Warriors. Shortly after, moved back to Boston, where I worked at Stonehill as a residence director. I lived out of Malden for some time, and recently in August, I moved to Los Angeles, where I am continuing my career with people and culture, and yeah, just thriving. I started off in the higher education realm, and slowly but surely ended up in HR, and now working with people and cultures for a fintech company in Silicon Beach, and living my wildest dreams.
Man, I love it. I love it. And I envy you being in California right now. That's one of my favorite places just in the country to be. So hopefully someday I will come out and get to see you and enjoy the Cali weather again.
Please. I know the hot spots.
Yes. I love it. No, and I really am looking forward to it. And someday I hope to invest in a property in Cali. It gives me a reason to go back there more often than I do now.
Oh yeah, for sure. We'll get you some people to train out here, so that way you come out here and show them what you're made out of. What us Boston people are made out of.
Let's go. Yes, that's a perfect plan. We got to set that up. But yeah, so why Cali? I definitely want to. I want to go a little bit more into your background, family, and its influence on your life. But Cali, you could have also went to. I mean, if it's warmth, you could have went anywhere in the world. Why California?
Yeah, good question. And I'm still figuring that out. I'm still figuring that out. I don't know what brought me here yet. What I do know is that in July, at that point we were in the pandemic and it was limited who could go outside. I was working 2 full-time jobs. I was working full-time during the day at MIT. And then I needed to step in a part-time role that I was doing overnight at a domestic violence shelter and do work full-time there too, because everyone else who worked there was a little bit of more age and were very, with coronavirus going on, it wasn't best for them to be coming into work. So I was working from 8 in the morning until 4 and then going home, taking a nap, going into my going into my second full-time job at 8 p.m.
Wow.
until 5 a.m. in the morning, taking the
Jeez.
train back to my day job. And I was doing that consistently. And so like my health was lacking, things were going on, and I was
Wow.
like, I need something different. And I also don't want to like start gaining weight and going back to where I was before. So I came to visit for 2 weeks in July. I loved
Mhm.
LA, and I said, I'm moving here August 1st.
Wow.
And I relentlessly made the move, and with fear, but I still
Mm.
came.
That first of all, that's brave, because not and when especially when it comes to moving, and because so many people are so locked into their comfort zones, like the small communities that they grew up in. So that is very brave of you to make that journey. Just almost get up and go and explore and just like hope that it's what you hope to be. It's funny that you're wearing a shirt right now that says hope on it. I hope you what? You know how loved you are. Oh, well, that's awesome. What what an amazing message, man. That's awesome. And yeah, no, that's cool, man. And it just so far has it been what you expected it to be, or like I guess do you see yourself staying there long term? Like what do you think, Ren? How are you feeling right now?
I don't know. I don't know yet. There's 24 days in an hour, 24 hours in a day, and
Mm-hmm.
I try to live within the means of those 24 hours. And
Mm-hmm.
so, for right now, I don't have a reason to go back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm out here and I'm figuring things out. You know, I've moved a few times in the short times that I've been here.
Mm-hmm.
I There was a point where I had applied to over 100 jobs, 100 cover
Wow.
letters. I
Wow.
stood outside of Nickelodeon Studios for
Wow.
like 4 hours in the blistering heat, passing out my resume. Now, who was I
Wow.
passing my resume to? Absolutely nobody. Nobody was walking on the streets. It's COVID. I don't know what I was thinking,
Wow.
but there was a piece of me that I was like, even if I can get like a maintenance person out here, I'm going to give them. I tried talking to a few people and they were like, no, we just walk by here every day. But I tried. Like it's been
Wow.
struggles and figuring it out. But um, I didn't come here to run away. Like I came
Hmm.
here to go through what what I'm meant to go through. And so I just want to
Huh.
make sure that I give that time.
So good. What so hungry. Like, wow. What an amazing story of survival and just persistence, That's cool, man. Wow. And here you are. So it seems like you're settled in a job that you seem to be. Are you happy where you are right now?
Very happy. I'm very happy.
Especially I mean, it was almost eventually you just kind of slid right back into your career.
Yeah. After a lot of prayer and a lot of fear because, you know, time was running out and I was very scared. I was very
Mm.
scared. It was to the point of tears and
Mm.
um you know, I've hit rock bottom before and I've been a lot of places. Um but there's something when you're just trying so hard and things are not happening your way that you're
Mm-hmm.
like, what else do I need to do?
Mm.
But the blessing isn't always the way that I want it, or it's not packaged the way that is going to look like for
Yes.
me.
Yes.
And you have to go through it. And that's probably something you'll hear a lot from me very often because one of the biggest lessons I've learned is going through it. I'm somebody who likes to go over it, right? But
Mm.
this is where the
Going through
lesson
it.
is.
Wow, going through it. I like that. It's a very different perspective and great mindset too. Like the mindset of I'm not gonna hide from it. I'm not gonna go around it. I'm gonna go through it. And that probably says a lot about your fitness journey and what's brought you this far. You're willing to really hit it kind of heads on, like it's a fight, it's a journey, and you're willing to just go through that fight. That's amazing.
I've had to because at 410 pounds, um, at 410 pounds, you're either going to die or do something.
That's
And
right.
so when you're faced with the
Wow.
crossroads, you are forced to make a decision. There's no more skipping down the road. The
Hmm.
street is blocked off and there's one way you can go or then there's the other way. And
Hmm.
so I had to make decisions. I want to talk about me, right? I have to make decisions. I had to make
Hmm.
decisions and I was brought to a crossroads where I've made some decisions.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's clearly paid off. The results are showing you're living your best life. Um, the one thing that you had during our kind of like a prep, like I always like to do, to just get to know people, you said something that really just, I thought it was such a powerful statement. You said, and I quoted you, in my element, in my body, whatever you put me or wherever you put me, like I'm gonna be all right, and I know like there's a big God. That to me, like, man, that's such a powerful statement. One is trusting God, right? But then two, like, I like how you put it too, in my element, in my body, because you're going through this new journey, almost like you've been given a second life. Kind of like you said at 410, um you could pass at any second. You could get a heart attack, whatever comes with being at that weight. um and then all of a sudden it's like boom, there's a change, there's a shift, like, and now you have this whole life, and that's what we're here to talk about, and I'm excited to dive deep into it, especially being at 410 pounds. But like, let's take a step back a little bit, because I'm always, this platform exists for the whys. Why the why behind everything, the why, like what makes you wake up every day, what was your inspiration, what was the driving force, what was the catalyst, the why. So for you, I want to understand more, like family dynamics, culture, family culture, food, right? um and so, what is your nationality? How did that impact, like your journey, in the sense that, what it impact, or did it contribute to the 410 pounds? And if so, like, even family wise, like how did they, or did they even influence that for you?
Yeah, there there's a lot. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot. Genetically, I was prone to be an obese person. Obesity runs in my family very, very deep. My
Wow.
father is from the Dominican Republic. My mother is from Guatemala. I was born in Jamaica Plain, and
Mm-hmm.
but I grew up in a Latino culture. In a very Latino community, um, where I I built I built very unhealthy relationships with food. When I celebrated, we ate. When I was sad, I ate.
Okay. Wow.
When I was angry, I ate. And so my culture and the way that I learned about what food was, um, at a very early age, was something that later on led for me to continue these unhealthy eating habits,
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't think about food as something that is meant to nourish my body.
Mm-hmm.
um, Food for me was all, on top of the genetic piece of it, the family. Diabetes runs in my family. There, on top of the genetic component of it, then there was the cultural component of it, that
Mm-hmm.
I built these relationships around food, and then personally I built another really outside of my culture. Personally, um, I was a very hurt kid growing up. I faced a lot of identity crises and not knowing who I was. But to you, I was always a sweet, nice kid.
Mm-hmm.
When I would go back, I would eat. and eat because that's the way I would make myself feel good.
Mm.
So I was always in psychiatry. I was always the youngest one in the Weight Watchers program that was actually a paid member of Weight Watchers with all of the grandmas and me. I was everybody's love child. Like, I tried everything at such a young age because unfortunately the relationships I had built with food and my genetic predisposition started me off a wrong road. Now, let me just say this, that was definitely the beginning we're talking about here. And I'm not looking to give away any responsibility because today I own the responsibility of my health. But we're talking about very young, very age, what my relationships with food were. And those were influenced heavily by my genetic predisposition, by my family dynamics, culture, and because of the mental health stuff that I was going through and how I used food to fix feelings.
Wow, that is such a weird place to be because you're battling so many things that you cannot control. Especially you're young. Now you have at some point you had control. The older you got, but you first start off with like you said, genetically being prone to obesity, and then the cultural piece, the family not helping, parties, and parties means food, celebration, and then it also adds in is the insecurities and which impacts the mental health, and all at a very young age, like man, what a card that you were dealt, huh? Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, they were my cards. They were my cards. Everyone gets dealt some cards, but those were my cards, and yeah.
That's it's crazy, but at the same time, I'm sure. I mean, it's now part of your story, and I always you're person, you're someone of faith, and I believe God put us in different situations and walks of life for a reason, and now that's your story that many people will hear and will be inspired by, and you will become the light to so many people. So um, that's something that you can, now look back at and kind of, and I imagine like you have more control, but at the same time, you're not really feeling so bad for yourself anymore, because I feel like when you're in that stage, when you're going through that, the emotional piece, I'm sure there were so many times you were asking yourself, why me?
Why me? And that kind of goes back to the social media piece, right? When you look at the people with the six pack, you're like, why couldn't that be me? Why couldn't that be me? And I fantasized this life, like, when you blow out your birthday candles, right? And you're allowed to only make one wish, only. And so you have to think about how important that one wish is for you. Ever since I can remember, my wish was to lose weight. And that, I just wanted it so bad. I wanted it so bad. I just didn't have the willingness yet. It didn't get hard enough yet for me to say I'm done, but I wanted it. I did.
Let's talk about that then. When you were done, when you finally got the will to fight, when was that? I guess what was the shift? When? I mean, and I'm sure you could probably point out a specific time, a specific moment where you were like, enough is enough. When was that for you?
That was about 2 years ago, or maybe a little bit over 2 years ago now, that I started. I remember I was sick and tired of feeling sick and tired.
Sick and tired, yeah.
Of feeling sick and tired. I didn't want to feel that way anymore. And I remember I had a pizza and it was a Tuesday, and I was like, I'm done.
Mhm.
I threw I threw the pizza away. I went in my refrigerator. I threw everything away, and I
Wow.
was like, I'm starting now. I wasn't going to wait until the weekend. I wasn't going to wait until Monday because I know what that looks like for me. I know I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, I'm going to do it. And then if one thing goes wrong during those days, then I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to start next week. It was going to start then. I was sick and tired of feeling the way that I was feeling.
Mhm.
And tears are coming to my eyes right now because um, that feeling isn't too far away from me, right?
Mhm.
Um, I keep it very close to me because it remains keeps me hungry. It keeps me wanting more, and to like not venture out too far from where I am right now.
Mhm.
But I was tired. I would wake up in the mornings and like I would have to wait 15 minutes to feel my arm again, like to feel the blood going through. I could feel my skin like touching myself without without me knowing that I was touching myself because I had sleep apnea. So all my weight was crushing down on me here, and so
Wow.
my blood wasn't going. So it was like, I'm gonna die. I'm going to
Wow.
die if I don't do something. And I just didn't want to live that way anymore. I wanted
Mhm.
freedom. And
Mhm. Love
I was
that.
willing to start then and there. So when my back was against the wall and I
Yes.
was like, I'm making the choice right now.
Wow. I love that freedom. I wanted freedom. I sick of, sick and tired of being sick and tired. Like, and just wanting freedom, right? I want to hear. I can't wait to hear more about that freedom, and the new life that you have. But just to kind of just acknowledge how far you've come. 410 pounds. How much do you weigh now?
I weigh about 190 right now.
Sheesh, dude.
I'm so amazed by that because we weight the same thing, bro. Like, what? And it's crazy because, like, I think about that image of you on the dance floor. You're probably at around, like, probably three something at the time. And then you're 190 now. Like, that's insane. Like, how do you think? Like, does that, like, do you wake up and you act, like, do you feel like new every day? Like, how does that, how is that experience for you?
It's so cool, man. Like I've been finding bones in my body or like things that are popping, like like there's a vein,
Like your beautiful facial structure. you
like
know?
or like I have a vein that comes out
Uh-huh.
here, and I'm like, uh-oh, I have to go to the
Whoa.
hospital. Something's wrong. I'm
No.
like, something's wrong. And then, or like I'll start seeing a muscle somewhere, and I'm like, I didn't know I had one of those. Like I
Wow.
know you had them, but I didn't think I had them. So
Wow.
it's like a
That's
brand new
cool.
it's like a brand new toy.
That is how often do you look at yourself in the mirror? Like, damn, I look good. Like, wow, I'm pretty.
I try to stay humble. I try to stay humble.
Hey, man, you know what? You deserve to just, like, to celebrate. You enjoy to live it up and embrace it. Like, yes, humility is key, but you know what though? You deserve everything. And you work hard, so like like celebrate it, and don't let anybody think otherwise because like you said, at some point, like it was life or death for you, and now you have a life, and you just have to celebrate it and live it up.
Yeah. I definitely, I'll get some outfits sometimes and I'm like, man, I feel so good. And I lift my head up and I walk down the street, and I'm
Yeah.
like, and I just feel good. Like, um, it just feels good to feel good in my body,
Yeah.
and that's still a very new feeling for me. So
And I'm sure it's gonna be new for a while. You know, I'm sure it's really gonna be because you're still going through that journey. There are different phases of it. So I mean, I would love to. One, I will continue to follow your story because I just enjoy seeing you in your new element. But also, just to see where you are at in like a year or two. You know, who becomes Michael Pena at the time. Um, and it's cool. That's as a trainer, as an advocate for health and fitness. That's what I love to see, man. Just love to see people happy. And enjoying and living the life that God gave them, you know, and confident in it and embracing it. So that's one thing that's fun for me and just watching you.
It's like you have this renewed opportunity, you know. Um, and don't get me wrong, like it's not like we've hit the milestone, right? Like you know this. It's where I am right now. Is something that I didn't think was possible. Like, tell me 2 years ago that I was going to be where I am now, and I would have been like, yeah, right. And I also didn't do it with the intention of getting here. I did it with the intention because I was done doing what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I just did little goals of getting through every day, doing the best that I can, and days added up, you know?
That's so good. Small goals, man. It takes you a long way. It takes you 200 pounds less, and you're still going at it. You're still at it. That's awesome. I love that. I'm so excited to see, you know, where you go from here. Is there an ultimate goal, or at this point you're just gonna just go and be your best self? Like what's the next step for you? Like, do you have a specific goal weight or anything like that?
No, I don't. I've tried to step away from the scale because I'm that person that would weigh themselves every single day. And so I've stepped away from the scale. And in terms of goals, it's just feeling healthy, you know.
Yes. Let's go.
And that's why I've been going more into like the intuitive eating type of thing, because I just want to feel good. And something that you had said before me, about the end game, because this is about like the long term. That's why this is a journey, it's not a competition. It's not like you got here and then
that's it.
It's a lot of things to work on, because you're thinking about sustainability and long term. Like, I don't want this to be instant gratification, because I know instant gratification. Instant gratification is me going to eat that box of Twinkies at the grocery store. You know what I mean? That's going to make me feel good now, but that has never served me. And so it's like more than like a goal of like hitting a milestone. It's more of like the goal of the 24 hours, doing the best that I can, and like loving myself. Like it's the long term.
Yes, that is so good. I love that. That's what I advocate for every day. That when I train people, that's the kind of goal that I want them to have. Right, the lifestyle change. Right, like, because that's what's going to keep you moving every day. Like, that's what's going to keep you alive every day. This is a journey, right? I'm living for the next 50 years, not just to flex in the mirror and look good on the beach. You know. So good. I want to talk about something specifically that you mentioned in the past. So you lost 200 pounds, and you did it strictly with hard work and dedication, sweat, literally, right? Literally sweat. But you said something that really kind of hit home for me, and I wanted to understand a little bit more of why that's important to you. You said you did it without surgery. Why is that specifically like important to you?
Yeah. For me, it's just important to say that because, not because I don't think that bariatric surgery is not helpful, because I did it without surgery this time around. And so I'll add to our conversation before and say that in 2007, I was one of the first youngest people in Massachusetts to get the gastric bypass.
Mm,
I was about 18 years old. At that point, I was
mm,
like 380 pounds.
mm,
And it was before college. And I was one of 6 people that were like a part of like a guinea pig program. Guinea
mm,
pig, I know. Um,
mm,
and I had the surgery, and it didn't work out for me.
mm,
It didn't work out for me the way it was supposed to. I ended up gaining the amount of weight that I lost. I had gained very quickly. Mentally, it didn't work for me. As a tool, it didn't work for me. It could have been my age. It could have been that I was not responsible. It could have been
mm,
a lot of things. It didn't work for me. That tool did not. This time around, getting up to 410 pounds, and the body is a beautiful thing. The organs, the stomach that was cut to be like the size of a fist, the stomach can grow and expand all over again because it's an
mm,
organ and it's that powerful.
mm,
And mine did that with staples in.
mm,
Um, Once it gets that big, I don't receive the benefits or the tools of surgery.
mm,
And so when I got to 410 pounds and I relinquished, whatever power I had over my weight at that time, one of the things I did look into in the beginning was to get surgery to like try see if they could fix what they messed up or yada yada yada. And they said no. They said sorry, it would be too risky. Unfortunately, you got it done very very early, so on and so forth. And the only way for me to lose weight was to the old fashioned way. So I lost the weight by building healthy eating habits, by working out and physical activity, and by like enjoying the things that I was doing. And surgery was not part of my story this time around. And I think that it's important for me to say that because while weight loss surgery for somebody who's ready to use that tool is amazing,
mhm,
it is also possible for you to do this without surgery.
mm,
And I just want to vocalize that, not to throw shade on anybody for their journey, but to
mhm,
speak about my own journey and to say that this time around, I had no surgery to
mm.
back me up, you know?
Right.
Right. Right. And there's so much, I mean, there's so much that comes with its own challenges, right? Because you think about the time that's required, the dedication, right? The nutrition, the mental game, and all the things that I want to dive deep into next. But just to kind of continue the line of the physical journey, the how, right? How did you do it? What resources do you utilize? I know you started your fitness journey, which I actually didn't realize. You started it before you left to California. You were doing it here, and I think you lost what 100 pounds before you actually left.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hmm.
So how did you get a little over? Okay. So what was the starting point here? Like what kind of things were you doing? And then when you went to Cali, what other resources were you utilizing to help you get to where you are?
Yeah. So one thing that I had to do was I had to start going back to the hospital and start getting blood work taken out and make sure that whatever I was doing, that I was monitoring. So I had a little bit of a nutrition team that help guide my progress. I also have very low iron, so they always have to take
Mm,
blood out of me anyway. So that gave me a lot of guidance to make sure that I had the vitamins and proteins that I needed. Then I said, all right, the first 100 pounds, I'm going to do just strictly cardio, what I know at the gym, and, integrate dancing in there. And then after that, I'm going to treat myself to a
mm,
trainer. Because I don't know how to lift. Like I didn't learn those things. I don't know what proper form is, and I'm afraid of lifting things the wrong way and hurting myself even more. So I stuck to that. The first 100 pounds, little by little, they started shedding off. They started shedding off. I started eating differently. I've tried intermittent fasting. I tried Herbalife. I tried so many different things when it came to my eating. And I've learned little things from every single one. The Herbalife didn't work out for me, but I learned about portion control because they give you those little boxes, and that was great for that purpose. And then I intermittent fasting, I learned about calorie deficit. So I learned something along the way from all these things where then I felt a little bit more comfortable to start thinking about eating differently and not so much on like a schedule or like, here, this is what you have to eat. But I've been able to trust myself a little bit more in my decision making now. While I was out there, I ended up getting 2 trainers, one in the Cambridge Sports Club and then one in Crunch Fitness, who I still am in contact with because they were my first trainers. And they taught me, all right, this is a deadlift. This is a Romanian whatever, and I learned my foundation from them. And it was so important for me to learn from them because I was not taught that stuff as a kid. And not to say that there's a school that you're supposed to go to or anything like that, or to put blame on anybody. I just didn't know that stuff. So when they taught me it, I was so willing to like listen and learn because this is the information that is going to help change my life,
That's so good. So just kind of going back to the team, and the support you had around you. You learned, it was really tried and error. You tried a few things on the nutrition side of it that didn't necessarily work for you, but you learned. You took a few things along the way and you learn a little bit more about just the disciplines and portion control and meal prepping and stuff, like you said. And then on the physical side is getting trainers who then taught you the basics. What to do, what not to do, and the equipment and stuff. And then you move to California. I guess what happened there? How did you get connected with where you are now? And just overall, how is that going? And I guess in terms of how much more weight have you lost since, like, in terms of the results, where are you now with that?
So moving to California, I knew that I was going to be able to go outside and go on hikes. So when I first moved here, that's what I was doing. I was hiking every single day because nothing was open yet. And I refused to start going backwards. I started hiking every single day, doing what I can. I bought like a dumbbell and I did 5,000 billion things with that one dumbbell. And then shortly after, I found F45, which became my community. And it's basically 45-minute HIIT intervals. And you do a lot of like full body workouts. And I don't have to actively think about this is arm day, this is leg day, like isolated workouts. They do all the thinking for me. I bring my mind, I bring my body, and they are the mind, and I appreciate that because all I had to do was show up and do the work. And so I've seen so many results from that. And I'm like cut in all these places. And I'm like, why? Honestly, I'm not even going to lie. Sometimes I don't even know the workouts that I did to cause, so sometimes I'll go to the trainer and be like, do you see this? Can we do more of whatever caused this? Because I don't know what.
That's so funny. And it's not. It's a collective. It's a accumulation of different things. And that's the beauty of a full body training. And circuit based exercises. That's my style. That's the 3G way. Because really, when it comes to 3G system fitness, the target market being fitness for busy people, and the 3G stands for go get in, get out. What I really did was I took my busy lifestyle and I commercialized it. So there's a lot of intentionality behind it, and just the style is understanding that I don't have that much time to spend in the gym. So I'm going to be very, very intentional about the 20 minutes, the half an hour, the 45 minutes that I'm in the gym for. And it's not, and focus on the what I'm doing when I'm in there, and the intensity level, the intentionality behind it, right? Going in with a plan and executing that plan. and being consistent with it. So I love and appreciate that style of training, and it shows results. It really does, and you're experiencing it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I love it. And it's like, and in those 45 minutes, it's intense, but you leave there and you're like, wow, I feel amazing. I feel like I just
Hmm.
did, the other day I was doing like a hamstring workout and I'm like, how do they expect us to walk home after this? Like, how do they, like, but I felt so good after. I'm like, oh
That's
man,
great.
like this feels awesome. Yeah.
That is great. The whole point is for you to not walk home after. I'm just kidding.
I know. You just roll.
That's fun. Yeah, crawling home, right? Uh, no, that's cool, man. I'm so happy for you. And you're putting in the work. I see you. I see you on Instagram, and like I said, keep recording, man, because I love watching your journey. I'm sure there's so many people who are. But and speaking of too, like, do you? I guess in terms of inspirations and influences, like what kind of stories do you get? I'm sure, do people ever reach out to you and say, hey, like, thank you? Like, do you get those kind of experiences, the stories?
I do. I do. And oh man, I, it's, it's why my content is what my content is.
Mm-hmm.
I have this one 16-year-old boy that follows me on TikTok, and
Mm.
um, he there was one video in specific that I like got a few million, like it viral or whatever the young kids call it nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
and um I message everybody that messages me and takes the time to see me, and I um he reached out to me and said like how much it mattered to him and that he was just starting his journey. And that was like months and months ago. And at this point, he's 84 pounds down. And him and we stay in contact all the time. When he's struggling,
Wow.
he hits me up,
Wow.
and I try to like give him motivation. And people have been trying to ask me like, hey, can you be my coach? Can you do this, that, and the third? And I'm
Wow.
not a professionally trained person. I'm
Right.
not that. Um, and what I have, and I told you this before, what I have, the knowledge was
Yeah.
so freely given to me that
Mm.
I refuse to get paid to be somebody's like life coach. What I can give you, I will give you freely because somebody
Amen.
loved me enough to give me that
Yes.
information. And so like this 16-year-old boy, um, it's it's just so cool that people have taken the time to just notice that in my story they seen themselves and that they can do it too.
Mm. That's so good, man. That's so inspiring. I knew it. You had to have people reaching out to you, and thanks for telling that story specifically, man. And the crazy thing is, this is just the beginning. You know, the story is still being told. You're still on that journey, and it's just getting started. So I hope you're ready to walk and embrace that calling that God is just walking you into, that of a coach, of a life coach, and potential speaker or whatever it is, someone who's gonna be a light to so many people. I hope you're ready to embrace that and walk into that role.
Take it a day at a time. If that's what's meant for me, then it's what's meant for me, and I will embrace it with open arms.
That's exactly what's gonna happen. I'm calling it right now. I'm ready for it to happen. But so let's get into the two main topics I want to talk about before we wrap up. Your relationship with food. You mentioned it a few times. It started off when you were very young. Emotional eating, right? Like everything, whether you're sad, you're happy, you're celebrating, you're excited, everything always went back to food. Um, can you talk a little bit more about that? And where are you now in terms of the disciplines, the control? Like, where would you say you're at now?
Yeah. I think it's important for me to say that for me, food for years, I would fix a feeling with a feeling, right? I would want to fix a feeling with a feeling. When I would eat because I was happy, because I was sad, because I was angry, because I was busy, because I was bored. And so because I was feeling those feelings, I would eat to feel better about like wanting that instant gratification. And so my relationship with food was always one that was tied in with my feelings. And wanting to feel better about like the world around me, about the world inside of me. I think that came to a crossroads at some point when I said, like, I have to start living differently and understanding my emotions, my feelings, working on that pained person in here that is looking for instant gratification all the time. And that I've been in psychiatry through a psychologist and psychiatry since I was a young kid, but really tapping into what is going on in here that is making me have to go to food to feel better. And that's hard. In the beginning, I remember I wanted to order, I think it was pizza again, and I didn't let myself do it, but I cried. I cried, like I was sobbing. And a lot of people may think that that's weird or that's like, why would you cry over pizza? But it was because I was breaking up. I was breaking up with food, you know, and when you have been through so much in your life and food is seemingly what's been there for you, you're breaking up with that. And so I had to stop trying to fix my feelings with another feeling. And that's been a lot of the work that I've been doing now, the long time work, the inside work that has allowed for like the outside transformation. And today I continue every single day that I wake up, I have to actively make a decision to continue working on myself. You saw how quickly I can get emotional about like what was it before, because if I allow myself, if I continuously make decisions to not live a healthy life or to make good decisions, I'm so easy to going back there, throwing it all in the towel and going to a life that I'm very familiar with. I'm very familiar with eating and ruining and eating and fixing my feelings because it's easy, it's convenient, right? And it helps me feel better about things. I know how to go back to that life so fast, but I don't want to. Today, I have built like behaviors and systems where I'm free from that. I'm free from my own self. Like I'm free from that food, that like that life that I had to have more. I don't want to live like that no more. I make a decision every day to live a life that I want to live today. And yeah.
That's so good, man. The freedom, huh? The freedom, and just kind of like you said, living the life that you want to live today. It's very inspiring. It's really the best way to put it. Very, very inspiring. Just the idea of like just giving a new life, man. And I just always go back to just how much your story is going to impact and save so many people's lives. That 16-year-old kid is just one of so many people that are going to be impacted by your journey, especially when in the context of emotional eating. There's so many people who could relate to your story, man. And I'm sure you know that.
And those are the people that are watching the Instagram and the Facebook and seeing the six packs, you know, like, and being like, damn, man, where is somebody that I can relate with? You know, I talked to you about this, right? Like, like this right here, this isn't like, it's not a six pack and it's not like a huge pec, right? Or whatever, or wait, a pec is here, whatever, a bicep, you know, this is skin that's left behind from the wreckage of my past, you know? And I look to put pictures of things like this to be like, this is what a real human looks like after they've put their body through so much and now is on a journey of getting better. And I put this on camera and I put this because like, I want people to see that this is a real human going through real experiences, and I'm no better or I'm no worse than you. Like I am you. I've been there, I am there, and I actively have to make a decision every day to not
So
stay
good.
there. And like, so I hope that whoever is looking at those six packs and those, I hope that they're able to continue to tune in to your podcast and to, you know, to your channel, to see other people that are real human beings that are doing it, and to see that they can do it too. Like they
Yes.
can do it too, and it's never too far away from them. Like
Yeah.
all you have to do is give yourself a shot. Give yourself a shot. And if it didn't work out today, then we have to, and you wake up tomorrow with air in your lungs, and we have a blessing to try again, you know, and again and again.
And keep pushing, you know, try something different and just keep pushing, and eventually it clicks. And that's what you're experiencing right now. That is so good. And you talk about your the excess skin, right? Which is your past. It reminds you of who you once were, and you still, a piece of you literally is still there. That piece of you, and it's a reminder every day. And that's so profound, man. And I guess that transition, that's perfect transition to my next question about really the next steps for you. So you I know you don't have a tangible goal like I want to be at like 175 or 85, right? Or for you it's really more so about the feeling, the long term, like the lifestyle piece of it, right? But then, you know, in terms of the excess skin, like the next step, like what does that look like? What does the future look like for you in terms of your journey? And it doesn't, and even beyond that, if you decide to ever get surgery, even beyond that, like, and that might be even thinking too far ahead, but I guess what are some thoughts so far? What do you envision yourself?
Physically, I physically, in terms of my body and with the excess skin, is I would love to down the road um, get it surgically removed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it is a considered a cosmetic surgery,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's expensive. And I
Mm-hmm.
have it here, I have it here, I have it like here,
Mm-hmm.
from like from my chest, I have it in between my legs, and so it's about four different surgeries that need to happen in
Mm.
order for me to reconstruct my body.
Wow.
And so it would be nice to get that. I also think that I need to sit in this body
Mm.
that I've worked on for a little bit, because
Wow.
I'm still working through loving myself the way that I
Mm.
am. And I don't think that I will be able to appreciate
Wow.
a new body without loving
Yeah.
everything that this body has done for me already. Like this
Wow.
body has carried me through 410 pounds. And like when we talk about where we're going and really going through it, I need to give myself the opportunity to go through it, because like I've mentioned, I like instant gratification. I'm an
Mm.
addict. I'm a food addict. I'm a addict. I like instant gratification, and that comes with
Mm-hmm.
addiction, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
that I need to love myself and do the
Mm-hmm.
work, like I said before, inside. The
Mm-hmm.
transformation outside will happen, but the
Mm-hmm.
transformation inside is really what's going to maintain. So for right now, I'm staying put. And
Mm-hmm.
hopefully down the road, I'll have the opportunity to get my skin cut and see what happens with
Mm-hmm.
that. But I'm staying put and I'm loving myself. I have a full length mirror right over there
Mm-hmm.
where I try and love like those pieces and those areas of myself. And yeah,
So amazing, man. And there's so much. That's such an important thing. Embracing that body, right, and really loving that body. And it's almost like a preparation for the next steps, the next stages. Really embracing and loving yourself in order for you to love the next person. That's so important. And it takes so much maturity to realize that, because so many people will rather just exit early, close out early, right? Like get a taste of that success and they're gone. Like peace. But then it always comes back and bite you in the behind when you leave too soon, like a recovery addict, or going through the process of recovery.
in recovery, we have a saying that says, "Don't leave before the miracle happens." That's this, is that I'm staying put
Uh
because the
huh.
miracle will happen, and who knows how it will come to me. but this understanding that I'm right where I'm supposed to be right now.
Yeah, let's go. Don't leave before the miracle happen. I think that's a great way to stop. That's a great place to end. I'm not even gonna say anything else. That's just mic drop. We're done. Don't leave before the miracle happen. That is such a profound lesson that can be applied in so many aspects of life. Not just fitness, not just nutrition, but in life, career, character, and I know there's a stigma with millennials. We tend to run when things get hard, right? And that statement says it all. Don't leave before the miracle happens. So thank you for sharing that profound word and to end this. I'm so grateful for your journey, your story, and giving me the time to and the opportunity to tell your story. I cannot wait for this to be released because so many people need to hear your story and so many people will hear your story. I know that for a fact. So thank you for being vulnerable and thank you for the willingness to just be the light for others. And that's really what you are. So thank you for that.
Thank you for having me. And I mean, congratulations on season 2.
Yes, sir.
But continue doing this because if I will say anything, it's voices like yours that I needed to hear when I thought I couldn't do it, when I thought that it wasn't attainable to me, when I thought it was so far away from me. When I thought I couldn't do a box jump, it was my trainer that spoke louder than the voices in my head. So keep doing what you're doing because while I'm the one doing the work, we need the people like you that are our cheerleaders and just helping us get through the things that we don't know.
Yes, that's so good, and that's what I love to do, and that's why I'm here. Awesome, thank you, bro. All right, sir, this has been fun. And I cannot wait for it to come out. And I will be in touch. I'll give you all the details. And looking forward to releasing your story because it's going to be an amazing one. So thank you.
For sure, brother. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. All right, sir. Have a good one. Peace.
Take care.
Gotta get it in. Gotta get it out. Go get in. Go get out. It's a 3G system fitness. Get it in, gotta get it out. It's a 3D system fitness. Let's bounce, let's bounce, let's bounce, let's bounce, let's bounce.